All right, Jared, you filed this lawsuit against the DNC. Tell me why.
Well, we filed this case shortly before the DNC convention last year, alleging that the DNC rigged the primaries for Hillary Clinton and against Bernie Sanders. We filed this case on the basis of the Guccifer 2.0 documents that came into the public domain in June of 2016, which was about a month before WikiLeaks released an even larger collection of documents showing that the DNC was doing everything it could to ensure that Hillary Clinton would get the nomination.
Sure. Yeah, I remember. I mean, it was pretty obvious that the DNC favored Hillary Clinton and was trying to eliminate, and well, not truly eliminate, but eliminate Bernie Sanders from the race at least. But you're saying that this constitutes election fraud if the DNC actually did collude with the Hillary campaign in order to squash the Bernie Sanders campaign. How is that election fraud, though?
Well, it's actually civil fraud, and it's civil fraud because people donated money to the Bernie Sanders campaign based on the belief that the primaries were being conducted in a fair and impartial manner, which is exactly what the Democratic National Committee's own charter requires it to do. And in fact, it's what we would expect the Democratic National Committee to do because it's supposed to be running these primaries in a democratic way, but that just wasn't the case. So actually, I think it's a pretty simple case. When you lose money based on a lie, you have civil fraud. And so that's what we have in this case.
Right. So let me make sure that I fully understand this. So you're demanding that the DNC repay Bernie Sanders supporters for donations they made to the DNC on Bernie's behalf or donations that they made to Bernie's campaign?
We actually have two classes of donors. One is donors who paid money to the Bernie Sanders campaign, and the other class that we're seeking to certify is people that paid money to the DNC. In either case, our contention is that people were damaged because the DNC lied to the public repeatedly and in its own charter, and people paid some significant amounts of money based on that lie.
Right. And that certainly did happen. I don't think there's any argument that people gave a lot of money. That happens every election. But let me ask you about this. This is actually the DNC's main defense argument here. They say that parties, that it's not the general election, the primary process, the selection of a candidate for one of the major parties, it's not actually required to be democratic. There's not lines, there's not guidelines or standards for that in our Constitution. They're not, I guess ethics aside, like I said in the introduction, they're not required to conduct this in a fair and balanced manner. They can choose their candidate in any way they want. That's their defense. How do you respond to that?
Well, that certainly is their argument, and that's what they've told the court in their defense, and I think they're flat wrong on legal grounds. If this is a private corporation, the DNC is a private corporation. When a private corporation defrauds people, and it happens all the time, the common law of this country, the common law of fraud, kicks in and provides a remedy. And so just because they're a political party, just because they're involved in politics, there's no exception or immunity under the law, and they haven't cited
no, but there is precedent. There is precedent for courts to kind of stay out of inter-party squabbles, not to get involved in that, rather. And of course, it's only in our relatively recent history that we even hold this type of popular vote primary, if you will. It used to be that the party candidates were selected in back rooms with literal cigars and whiskey, and that, a group of elites just picked one of their buddies, one of their friends that they wanted to run. The precedent is not really there to say that it has to be done in a perfectly democratic manner.
Well, I think the precedent is actually very clear. First of all, that you can't defraud people out of money. That's a time-honored precedent that goes even before the founding of this republic and its common law. Now, you cited their argument where they're saying that courts don't get involved in inter-party disputes. Well, this is not an inter-party dispute. This is a civil litigation brought by people who donated to the Bernie Sanders campaign, but it's not a political dispute at this point. This is a case about people that paid significant amounts of money. In this case, they didn't buy products, they didn't buy stock, but they thought they were participating in a fair and impartial primary process, because that's what the DNC was saying over and over again, not just in its charter, but in the media. And so from the perspective of, again, the common law of fraud, I think it's
the fraud argument. So basically, your end goal here is to return this money to the donors, not to change the party process in any way. Jared, this is very interesting. As this continues in the courts, I hope you'll come back and update us on this. I mean, I agree with you.